Firstly, we're going to go over very briefly the structure of the Career Accelerator and what makes it unique, and hopefully how it will enable you to achieve advancement in your career or even a change of careers into data science. I'll then introduce my guest today, which we're most excited to not only welcome but hear from directly, as she's currently studying the program. And then we'll get to the audience and I'll ask some questions, and then we'll get to the audience questions. There'll be also some things for me at the end that I'd like to highlight for your benefit as well. So it is all about yourself and your learning discovery, or your discovery towards what might be best for your career. So do engage and do put your questions in the Q&A. The Career Accelerator program, in partnership with Cambridge ICE, has been running for just over 12 months now. So we've had 4 intakes commence to complete so far. And it's been brilliant to witness the diversity and range of learners that have come through, and those that have achieved their career outcomes as well, which we always celebrate, both as our North Star metric, but also just for the individuals' learning career outcomes as well. So it's a 7-month program. It is intensive. It's around 20 hours per week with a blend of synchronous and asynchronous delivery. Synchronous meaning there are live sessions with the Cambridge academics weekly, and asynchronous meaning you choose the rest as to when and how study fits in with your life, as opposed to adhering to a university timetable, for example. So many learners do work full-time whilst studying and find that it can fit in, but there are sacrifices to be made, and I'll touch on a little bit more of that at the end. So there's 4 courses and 1 industry project at the end. Course 1, applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. Course 2 is solving business problems with supervised learning. And course 3, applying advanced data science techniques. Course 4 runs concurrently with the industry project. Course 4 is the future of data science, AI, generative chat GPT and the like. And the industry project is really one of the cornerstones of the Career Accelerator model. As it's a very applied learning and practical learning sense, there's no exams in the program. Your learning outcomes enable your participation in the employer project. So at the end, you'll be grouped together with 4 or 5 other high caliber learners, and you'll meet with one of our industry partners. We've previously worked with the Bank of England, and we'll be doing so moving forward. There's other organisations such as one of the largest automotive retailers and distributors in the world, amongst others. So you'll meet with one of our partners. They'll present to you their real data-related challenge that they currently experience. And as a team, you'll work through applying the learning that you've gone through over the first 4 courses to come up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario, presenting your recommendations back to that client, if I can call them that, in a consultancy style presentation at the end. There's numerous benefits to that. Firstly, it's applied learning, so you'll apply the learning, as I've mentioned, in a real world sense. Secondly, it's amazing to network more deeply with your fellow peers and also leaders of industry. And lastly, be it you looking to advance your existing career in data or change fields into data, it's a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to demonstrate that you've had real experience than it would be to, say, recite an exam result. When we designed the content, we partnered with tech industry leaders and others to bring together or form that bond between academia and industry. Now, one of the things that significant employers told us that they were frustrated with or saw challenge regarding was that so many of the talent that was applying for their roles and being accepted often came from environments where they learnt the technical and they were very adept at the technical, but not the business application of the technical. So we've woven, obviously, even in the course titles that I read out a moment ago, that all of the content is heavily geared towards the business value of data science and having impact in a commercial or organisational sense. We'll hear more about that certainly from our guest in a moment. Just a couple more things regarding the course before I do introduce our guest. Firstly, the next intake commences on the 22nd of April. There's a 2-week onboarding process where you'll be set up to succeed in the program. You'll also go through a process of setting some goals, and you'll meet with career coaches. The Career Accelerator is also featuring career coaching. It's a really important part of us enabling you to achieve your intended outcome. So you'll meet with your coach regularly throughout the program, one-on-one, and they're a professional career coach. So they'll be guiding you towards the earlier or faster or accelerated attainment of your career goals through a variety of one-on-one meetings, strategies, and techniques in which to enable that. And I'll discuss a little bit more about that with an offer a little bit later as well. So 7 months of learning. It's about 9 months all up with the breaks that we have in between. And all up, the cost is £8,395, including VAT and including that career coaching, of which there'll be a special offer for you at the end. We do want to make that accessible to more, though. So we do offer payment plans that are free of interest. You can benefit from a reduced rate of £500 if you elect to pay up front. We've got a 6 monthly payment plan with no fees or interest. If you need longer, you can speak with an enrolment advisor, even up to 24 months with our provider in StepX, where there's a £20 application fee, but 24 months interest-free payments as well. So we try and make that accessible to many, but it's the return on investment that we're going to demonstrate today when you're considering, be it advancing your career or changing a career. This will certainly provide you with that return on investment that you are seeking and that you deserve after making such a time and monetary commitment to yourself as well. I'll come back and answer any questions that you may have specific regarding the program. I'll just, before I introduce my guest, I will touch on the entry criteria. So the entry criteria is such that you need to have completed either your a bachelor degree with at least a quantitative unit of study previously and have some experience in the workplace of exposure to data. It doesn't need to be an analyst role. It could be anything from a sales role that you're working with forecasting and data and all those sorts of things, or any number of roles that relate to using data. So a minimum of 1 year experience. If you don't have a bachelor degree but have heaps of professional experience, you can be considered by Cambridge on an edge case basis, and they will assess your application after your discussion with your enrolment advisor. If you haven't already, I am going to open up my calendar, and Sam will put a link to my calendar if you'd like to talk to me about the program next week, because my team are very, very busy meeting with and hopefully some of you already. So that's a quick overview of the program and the entry criteria. The last piece of entry criteria is some Python, but I've left that out, so we'll talk to Emily a little bit about that, who I'd like to now welcome. So enough from me. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our special guest today, Emily Brock, who I'll ask to give herself intro to, as you're a current learner and valued learner within the program. Welcome, Emily. How are you?
Hi. Yes, good, thank you. Looking forward to
So good to
today.
have you here. Thank you. Just for the audience benefit, a little bit about yourself, your background, and your studies, or why it is that you chose to study data science.
Yeah, so I did a degree in pharmacology, which led me into work in mathematical modelling and neuroscience. I do have a master's in pharmacology and neuroscience. But then I moved down to Devon and left the world of research to go into education, brought on my own business in teaching and tutoring, and have decided that, having started to explore the world of Python, I wanted the opportunity, although I'm quite isolated in the UK, to get back into a scientific research role, and developing my knowledge of Python and becoming a data scientist aligned perfectly with that. And of course, the neuroscience plays into some of the things that we're learning with Forth and Cambridge.
Fantastic. And that's a big decision that you made. You've moved, you've changed, and you're taking on further change upcoming. Well done, and we're glad that you're well on your way to doing so. Can we ask about first your journey of discovery? Many people in the audience, of which there's many, are on a similar path to what you were around that, 6-8 months ago.
Yeah.
You were looking, I assume, at numerous courses. Firstly, what was it that stood out about this program to you?
I think that it is a high caliber course. It was advertised as an equivalent to a master's. which I was toying with, do I do a master's or do I do a career accelerator course? And the diversity of the modules that are available, whereby it is quite an intensive course, but it really covers all aspects in a short period of time of what you need to become a data scientist. And I think I got into my role in research through an internship and industry. So on my third year of university, I did an industrial year, and it was endlessly helpful. And I think the fact that this is so practical and applied, and there's the opportunity to work with the Bank of England, was something that really attracted me. As you said, I have recognised over my time of work that having practical experience is really important. And so I felt that this would fit me better, I suppose.
Yeah, good on you. And then through that discovery, you've lodged an inquiry and you actually booked a time with an enrolment advisor,
Yes.
possibly more than one. How was your discussion and how were you treated in that regard? Just for the audience's benefit, as I've suggested, they book a time. How was the interactions with your enrolment advisor?
Otto was fantastic. He was really enthusiastic and really informative and answered all of my questions. He was really clear as to the guidelines of what you needed in order to enter the Career Accelerator. So he was very honest about it, because I was very nervous, having a very limited background in Python, that I would be suitable for the course. And he made it very clear what was needed for the course, and how I would go about gaining acceptance to the course.
Fantastic. I did say I'd touch on that because I knew that you went down that pathway. For the audience benefit, it's not that you need to be intermediate or advanced. We need
No.
the opportunity of you learning data science from day one rather than learning the very basics of Python. But Emily, in your experience now, can you describe how much Python skills, and there is a technical test for those that don't or need to learn Python that we can certainly assist people with, but what level of Python do you feel would be valuable to make a successful commencement in the program?
Yeah, I had a very, very limited experience of Python. I'd done a level 2 course in Python, and I'd done quite a bit of work on Kaggle. But when I say quite a bit of work, very elementary work on Kaggle. Otto did provide me with some work on Kaggle to do before I commenced the course, which just got me familiar with using libraries, which was helpful as well. I would say that having that elementary understanding helped me with the beginnings of the course. But I have managed and learned a huge amount. The lecturers provide you with some information on coding, and also there's a brilliant Python expert who is there to help you out if you get stuck. So yeah, a little bit of practice at the start and a foundational knowledge, I think, helped me a lot, but I was very elementary at the start and very nervous about that, but I have managed.
Excellent, thank you. And the specific libraries, NumPy and Pandas and the like?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically Pandas and NumPy, yep, were the ones to get me started. Yeah.
Excellent.
Matplotlib,
Just,
a few things like
yeah,
that.
exactly. That's a
Yeah.
good point too. Just a reminder, everyone, pop your questions in the Q&A. We'll use the chat for some links and the like as well. And there's, I can see some floating through now. So you're halfway through course 3. Very shortly, you'll be taking on
Yeah.
the industry project. How do you juggle an intensive course? It's, close to 20 hours a week, or sometimes more for some, and some weeks I'm sure you do less. But how do you juggle um, your family, your work, and your business, and study at the same time? How does it all fit in for you?
Yeah. It's a long time since I studied. I'm not that old, but middle-aged. So it's a long time since I went to university. I think one of the things that I had forgotten, even though I'm in education and teach, and have a business in education, is how to learn. Um, that was quite a shock to me at the start, quite a shock to the system. But I have developed a kind of, and you are encouraged to, and the success managers help you to at the start of the course, develop a routine of sorts. I have had to make sacrifices along the way. So yes, I have family commitments and I have a business, and the course to complete as well. I really like my sport and I have got less fit over the
Ah,
process of the course. But um, after the autumn part of the course, I realized that I could sit on the turbo inside and cycle and also read through my lecture notes and do stuff on YouTube. And that has
that
been
is-
a godsend. It's been brilliant to, yeah, multitask. So, and listening to podcasts whilst I run or walking the dog. So, yeah, I have had to be a bit using my initiative, I suppose, to fit the course in around other things. And I have had to make sacrifices along the way, be a little bit selfish at times, but my husband is endlessly supportive, so that's been really helpful. Um, it is tiring, yeah. It is a commitment with regards to time. So that is something to bear in mind. And you do have to follow the course through to be successful in the projects and mini projects. You can't kind of leave it till the last minute. So developing a routine, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that discipline of sometimes the motivation may be to sit down and have a glass of wine and turn on Netflix or whatever. But if you just sit down and make a start on something, you might only do 10 minutes and say, you know what, tonight's not for me, but I know it. I've given it the chance that I need. Or you might sit down and you might knock out an hour or two.
Yeah.
You won't know unless you sit down and give yourself that commitment to commencing something, and whatever progress you make is positive progress. So it is that structure, it is that discipline, and it's leaning on the supports, I guess, that are available to you to make online study successful as well. Um, in relation to you've mentioned this already, but I guess elaborating on the last on something you mentioned in the last response, the practical nature of the learning, but
Yeah.
also the major projects. What for the audience benefit, what does that look like in terms of a week of learning, for example? How practical is it, and what are the mini and major projects like?
I think the thing to bear in mind is it is a master's level course, and so you have to approach it with a master's student's mind, if you like. Um, there are excellent notes that are provided to help with your learning, but I think that what was emphasized to us at the start is that different parts of the course are applicable, are different people in the course will be more familiar with different parts of the course. And that's one of the wonderful things about the course is the diverse range of backgrounds of my peers as well. And networking with them and helping each other has been really cool. But I certainly have had to read around the course material in order to fully understand it. There's the lectures. The Cambridge lecturers are absolutely amazing. They go above and beyond to help us and give of extra time, which is fantastic. And you have access to them and use them, use all the resources available. On top of that, there are activities to do, and they are to do in your own time, and they're coding activities based around real life business scenarios um, to get you prepared for the mini projects and projects, which are at the end of course one and course two, and now two projects in course three. I've just completed the first one. They're real life scenarios. And they are actually based on experiences that the Cambridge lecturers have had in their work. So we've just completed one on something that our Cambridge lecturer worked on with Pure Gym. And they bring about real world challenges. So particularly, I was mentioning to you before this, it has got increasingly challenging. And the last project has been challenging for everyone from all walks of life on the course. I mean, I've had peers who are quite advanced in data analytics who found certain aspects of it really quite challenging. But it's great because, as the lecturer pointed out, it gives you a skill set which is unique and which will help you to get a job in the workplace in data science and to be able to talk about in an interview scenario. So, yeah.
That's exactly right. So instead of exams, you submit mini and the final projects. You can also demonstrate them then, I guess, in interviews rather than you'd never take your exam to an interview, for an example, but you've got a portfolio to demonstrate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we came across some real stumbling blocks in the last project that we did, which we had to help each other with, and which we needed help from the lecturer and his experience in working in data science on a daily basis. But those struggles, whilst they were very real at the time, that they're the things you'll get asked about in an interview, and the practical aspect of the course gives you the opportunity and the experience to go into an interview. And when you're asked about how did you solve the problem with compatibility of different libraries, you can say, well, I did this, this, and this. And that's not something that you would get from a normal master's course.
Exactly. I've got a few more questions, but there are some coming through from the audience. Thank you ever so kindly. Keep them coming. I guess, what are the specific new tools or skills that you've gained confidence in using through the program?
I think quite a lot related to Python. The course is well designed in that it starts you off a little bit more easily, but gets more advanced as time goes on. So using various online repositories like Hugging Face, and so forth. But also in the projects, report writing. So soft skills, we're going to go into the course 4, where we need to do presentations on a 2-weekly basis. Interacting with our peers. So it's been a really cool experience doing that. But networking and, learning how to be a data scientist in the everyday world has been really applicable. So lots of different new tools, and computer tools, just IT tools and tools within AI. Developing Google Colab skills and working with GitHub and ChatGPT and so on as well.
There is a question I'm going to get to now from Jake, and Melanie, thank you for yours. I'll come to yours as well. Just on chat, and you're still to do course 4 with the future of data science as well, but
Yeah.
to what degree is that, Jake's asked, and thank you, Jake. To what degree is the learning of Python language part of the course, given the rise of LLMs reducing reliance and need for coding skills? It's an interesting one and a balance, and we've hosted webinars on this specific topic, and we'll see if we can't provide them in the chat in a moment, Jake. But would you like to tackle that one, Emily?
Yep. Developing your Python skills is a big part of the course. You have to be quite proactive in that yourself. The course isn't a lesson in Python, but through the activities and through the demonstrations, you become more advanced in your coding as you go. Yes, there are LLMs, and there is ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot and so forth. And it's quite a big question that is asked at the start of the course by myself and other people on the course is, how much coding do we need to know? I think it's not something that you need to worry about in as much as ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot are there. But you do need to develop your Python skills as you go through the course. And that's something that the industry mentors will help with as well, directing you towards various resources. So coding and being proficient in Python is something that you need to work on and become better at as you go through the course. It's still needed to work the LLMs, and as we've been working with LLMs in course 3, the coding has become more advanced, and you need to know your way around it to get through the projects.
Exactly, and great question, Jake. The other benefit, I guess, is the recency bias. What I mean by that is it's up to date. The content is continually questioned.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you think of a master's program that may have been developed some time ago, it's a 2-year program. There's every chance that some of the content may be out of date by the time you finish. I'm not saying all, but certainly some. The pace of change has never been this fast, and it will never be this slow again, is something that I often say. Someone much wiser than me mentioned that to me, and I've used that a lot since. But with our industry mentor, that I guess, Emily, how does that work, and how does the industry mentor that's a part of the program keep it industry relevant for you?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of relevance, I suppose the benefits of the practical application and doing the projects is that we are a part of it as it is evolving. So Hugging Face and library compatibility and so forth, you are exposed on a daily basis to how quickly things are evolving. The industry mentors, they have real world experience. They're working in it at the moment. Our current lecturer, Dr. Hunter, works in data science. So they are bringing real world experience and how things are developing on the hoof as you go, if you
Mm.
like. It's up to date and it's current. Yep.
That's brilliant. And obviously the uh, tutors from Cambridge have a vast amount of experience, and Dr. Ali especially is the overarching
Yes.
convener, is so passionate about this in,
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to meet other learners in person as yet?
No, so in May, Um, very exciting. We have a networking event up at Cambridge where we will get to meet each other face to face. So that will be really cool. But also, we have created various social events. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to London at Christmas, but one of my fellow learners created an event. Both he and I are student representatives. So I did an online Christmas event for those people who were international, where we got together to celebrate finishing course one and the
Yeah.
start of Christmas, which was really cool. And there's lots of data science events going on in London. So as people find out about them, we post on our WhatsApp social chat that they're happening and arrange to meet each other. So there's one that quite a few of us are going to in May to get some networking done and also to have dinner with each other afterwards. So although
Yeah.
it is an online course, there is chance for interaction and you can go up to Cambridge and meet your lecturers. I mean, we will be meeting them in May.
Yes.
So yeah, there is some on-face interaction as well.
It is an amazing place. Mattingley Hall, which, for those of you that aren't aware, is the home for Cambridge Institute of Continuing Education, and it's about 10 minutes outside of Cambridge town. But it's a 15th century, almost castle-like structure that is just has its own presence. And the benefit of those events that you will be a part of is not only meeting your peers that you've been studying with and interacting with so much, but you'll meet other groups as well to broaden your professional network amongst your peer group and Cambridge, and also industry professionals that will be in attendance. There'll be a networking event and a celebration event. So you do have the option of going there twice. I spoke to someone in Sweden today, who expressed an interest in not only doing the program, but also when available to come over for the specific events, not just for those in the UK. And I'm so delighted to hear that you took the lead in including people from other areas of the world in a virtual event, but everyone, no matter where you're based, if you can get to London for one of the two or three events, that you'll be certainly welcomed and encouraged to participate in. I've got one or two more questions, and there's some more questions coming through, which is excellent. Let me just see. How do you see, I guess, with a glance towards the future a little, or some advice for the audience before we take a quick glance into the future for yourself? Is there anything that you wish you knew before commencing the program?
Um, I wish I'd known about GitHub Copilot to help with my Python coding. It's absolutely brilliant, and yeah, as I said, you learn a lot from your peers. And I had been using Gemini on Google Colab and ChatGPT, but having come across GitHub Copilot, yeah, it's another class of helping you with your Python coding. So yeah.
Good on you. Sam has also, who puts these events together so diligently, has also put in a link to a previous webinar I hosted surrounding the Python assessments and how we can support you obtain Python skills if required, and then take the test. If you haven't coded before, or programmed before, or if you have and you need to brush up on Python, the technical test isn't too much of a barrier. If you speak with your enrolment advisor, get some of the Kaggle assets that we can provide. You go through a learning process of that, and when you're comfortable and confident to take the test, it's only 13 questions, 10 of which are multiple choice, and 3 of which are basic coding examples. That's it to give you yourself the best opportunity of commencing successfully. But there is a link to a previous webinar I hosted in that one. What advice for the audience in particular? What advice would you give someone new to data science that's considering the program?
Go for it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really rewarding. Um, don't worry if you don't have any Python skills. If I've survived, you can too. Um, so, um, and it's incredibly rewarding. It is hard. Yeah, it is challenging. You do have to pass the mini projects and projects, and so you do have to put in the time. It has been developed by Cambridge, so it is of a challenging nature. And you need to keep up, I think, and commit to it. So it is a commitment for the time that you are doing the course. It's fairly full on, but absolutely go for it. It's challenging, but really rewarding. And don't be scared. I think when I first met my peers online, I was like, oh my goodness, so many people with so much experience. But there's a lot of us that didn't have any experience, and you learn quickly. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. So embrace the challenge.
Um, that's such good advice. Thank you. I guess before I get to the questions, what's your peer group like? We've mentioned it's diverse, and I love the diverse nature
Yeah.
of our learners. But what are some of the backgrounds of some of the people, for example?
Yeah, so we are a really diverse range of learners from all over the world, which is really cool as well. And also in terms of experience, there are some people who are advanced in data analytics and are looking to accelerate their career and be chief data scientists and so forth. There are people from a banking background. Um, there are people like myself who are from a neuroscience, mathematical modeling, and scientific background who are looking to take data science into the sciences. And many of us didn't have any experience in data science. Some of us had experience in data analytics. Some are software engineers. So yeah, a hugely diverse background, which is really cool because we've been able to help each other and support each other and help with the challenges along the way. Yeah. So meeting everyone has been great. We've got a platform called Circle where we can share resources and we can chat with each other and put our problems up, and then they get answered by each other and the lecturers as well. I mean, I would say the more involved you can be in the course in terms of interacting with your peers and the support that's available, the more you'll get out of it. So you get out what you put in, really.
I think that is such good advice,
Yeah,
and often not reiterated enough. It's such a commitment of time and money that one's
yeah,
investing in
it
oneself.
is.
It is a really good point that you make, that the more you put in, the more you get out. And that includes networking, that includes contribution to discussion, that includes engaging with content that others have posted, all those sorts of things that you just mentioned are in that student community, is for everyone's benefit. And it's always great to obviously contribute and digest for your own benefit as well. That's really, really good advice, actually. I did have a question about moving forward for your future aspirations as well. How do you envisage the skills you've gained shaping your future in data science?
I think that the journey I've been on has been one that's quite rapidly changed. I started learning some Python because I wanted to get back into an online research role because I'm quite isolated down in Devon in terms of industries that are available to go and work in. So that was where the Python inspiration came for me. Data science, I'm a scientist and a mathematician, so it made sense. Um, Initially, I thought perhaps that I might want to do a PhD studentship, and it's something that I'm still looking into and getting help from the Cambridge lecturers and Cambridge and the student success manager in. But equally, you become so aware of different opportunities that arise as you go through the course, and the different aspects of the course are so broad ranging and diverse in themselves. Our current industry mentor is a consultant. So that's of interest to me, and I'm meeting with him in a few weeks' time to talk about that. Um, Data internships as well. It depends on your experience as to where you're going to go next, I think. So as I mentioned, there's someone on the course who is really advanced in data science and data analytics and wants to go into being a chief data scientist and a data science officer. For me, I will have to start at a more elementary level. But all of the opportunities are there. And as we go through the course, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I read an article last night about how protein structure is being developed by transformers, which is what we've just been learning about. So like ChatGTP and things that can predict language and produce language and translate language is now being put into science. And being used with what I used to do. So I just didn't think there would be an application there, but there is. And I was like, that's really cool. So yeah, my journey is constantly evolving and constantly changing as I go.
Understandably, and rightly it should, through learning,
Yes.
and through broadening horizons and seeing opportunity. Good on you. Let's get into some audience questions, of which there's a few. And Melanie, thank you. And sorry you had to wait for so long for me to get to your two in particular. Melanie's asked, do we have access to the recordings of synchronous courses dispensed during the day for those who work full time? Absolutely. And I'm going to cover a few questions here. They're all recorded and you can watch them on the treadmill or whilst walking the dog or whenever suits you best. But always best, I guess, to attend live so you can engage and ask questions that are pertinent to your own learning at that particular week of study as well. So Melanie, thank you. Melanie's also, so before I get to Melanie's second question, one has asked, at what time are the live classes usually scheduled for? You get a choice, don't you, Emily?
Um, No, you don't get a choice as to, I think that in a previous cohort, the live session with the lecturer was repeated. And so there were two possible opportunities. But as the course has evolved, it was recognized that people would have lots of questions or were bringing up lots of questions. And so the first session in the week is like a lecture and is delivered differently by the different lecturers, obviously, but either takes the form of PowerPoint slides or Dr. Hunter does it through a Google Colab notebook and does examples of coding with you, as well as the course content. And then the second session in the week is a Q&A session with the lecturer, where some people put questions onto Circle beforehand, so the lecturer can prepare for it, or you take your questions to the lecture. But yes, it is definitely preferable if you can attend the sessions live, but they're made available 24 hours after. And I can't currently attend the lecture on a Tuesday evening, but it's available after 24 hours. And yes, you can watch it whilst you're on your turbo or walking the dog or whenever else suits you. So it's a very flexible course in terms of timing. You can work to your own study schedule, really.
And those sessions, are they all of an evening?
Yes. Oh no, sorry, they're not. Currently, the lecture is on a Tuesday evening, and the Q&A session is a Thursday lunchtime.
Yep. Let me just see the next question. There was another one relating to that, I think. I'll come back to it. Do we have access to the recordings? Yes, we do. Considering that you do not have student status, this is a certification, not a qualification. It is
Yeah.
equivalent to a level 7, as you've mentioned, learning style. Do you have any other kind of involvement with the university other than the Career Accelerator? I guess it's the events that we host, Melanie, for your benefit. But there's not say a library access thing. It wouldn't be fair to provide that for some and not others that aren't in the country of study and things like that. So it is highly engaging online, but a certification, not a qualification. Bam Delhi's asked, do we have a scheduled cohort after the one starting in April? We do. The next one will be July and October. It's recommended to well, we limit the numbers that we can take on. They're big cohorts, but they're nowhere near what they could be if we opened it up for 300 learners worldwide. The reason we cap our enrolments per presentation is purely because of the learning experience. So if we were to open it up for 300 worldwide, it would be a case of diluting, we feel, your experience through the industry project, because there might need to be 15 or 20 learners on a team rather than 5 or 6, for example. Therefore, your roles and responsibilities within that project would be somewhat watered down, and we won't have that. So obviously the timing has to be right, but also consider moving your decision as early as you can, only because as we scale with more coaches and more industry partners and so forth, we'll certainly take on more learners as well. Here we go. And another one from Bamba Delhi. I did a few professional certificates in data analytics, business analytics with AI ML with Imperial College Online. What is the difference with this program? Would you like to start that, Emily? And I'm certainly happy to
Sorry, could you
supplement.
just repeat the question?
Yeah, so they've done a few professional certificates in data analytics
Yeah.
with AI and ML with Imperial Online. What's the difference with this program?
Um, I'm not sure I can comment completely on that because I haven't done those courses. But if I give a little bit of background about what is in each module, the first one is statistical. The second course is based on neurometrics and building neural networks. And the third course is based on NLP, so natural language processing. And then, of course, there's the industry mentor course at the end with the Bank of England. I don't know how the other courses compare, but I think that the practical applications of this course, the mini projects and the projects that need to be passed, so you kind of don't get the certificate just handed to you. And the Bank of England project is a massive bonus because it's 6 weeks of hands-on working in industry and developing soft skills as well as the skills that you learn throughout the course. But I don't know the other course, so I'm not, you might be able to comment more there.
Yeah, only a couple of things. Whilst we don't always guarantee, say, one employer project, such as you'll be working with the Bank of England,
Yeah,
but maybe that you get a choice of projects. But you're right, that is really the cornerstone, as is the career coaching. We haven't touched on that for yourself yet, and I know you've had a few sessions with the coach, but you're looking to back end most of your career
yeah,
coaching for when you complete the program and want to
yeah,
achieve your intended outcomes then. But it's a very big point of difference, and it is again, one of the benefits of the Career Accelerator model, with it being designed with industry, backed by Cambridge, and contains executive one-on-one career coaching. I think you'll find they're the main points of difference as well. Jason's asked, are LLMs being highly used nowadays as a data scientist, such as replacing linear regression models with LLMs that use text descriptions to predict continuous values? Emily.
Um, yes, LLMs are being used and have enormous capacity to do some incredible things, so much so that even as data scientists or computer specialists, we're sometimes not sure how they're doing what they're doing. But they're not at the stage of replacing neural networks. They have different applications for different areas of data science. But within the course, you learn the basics of, or the foundations of where things have come from to where they are going to. So before you look at ChatGTP and online translators, you look back to transformers before activation functions and so forth came into play, and attention. So you learn how things were And of course, as you mentioned, they're rapidly evolving. So you go from learning how they were to, for example, attention and where they are going to. So they're not, large language models are massive, but for example, in the project that I've just done, you start by looking at BERT topic and transformers, and you do some work with those, and then you move on to the LLM towards the end of the project. And then you see where it comes into its own, and you question, why did you do all of the stuff before that? Because the LLM can do all of it for you. But it's important to have that foundation of knowledge, and they're not completely taking over the world. There is still other things going on.
Yeah, and having that grounding and that academic rigor behind helps learning for that process of learning for any technology that may evolve furthermore as well. That's a whole process that you've undertaken. That's excellent. Jose's asked, thanks for sharing your thoughts, Emily. How do you consider your skills in AI and ML as an AI ML scientist in the current market after your experience and concepts with the program? I guess you'll be able to answer some of that now and find out some of that moving forward.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned a huge amount in a very short period of time. I think that what has really surprised me is how diverse and applicable data science is in every walk of life now. As Dr. Hunter was saying the other day, we have learnt some really cool tools of the trade and are going to with the Bank of England. And it can kind of take you anywhere. I mean, I'm talking very much from a scientist's point of view, but data science can take you into all walks of life. And I know people who have looked at going into work with UPS and various organizations, and it prepares you nicely for that. And what I perhaps haven't highlighted as well is the industry mentor sessions. So Dwaka and now Mike have brought their own unique experiences in working in retail and working in consultancy. So Mike has worked in all sorts of different projects, from working with banks to working with Pure Gym and so forth. So the tools that you are provided with in AI and ML are quite extensive. And I don't know what other courses provide you with, but that's been really impressive.
That's a really good overview and a great question, Jose, as well, because everyone has transferable skills as well. Emily's outlined her scientific background, and we've also mentioned the diverse nature of the cohort. But the career coaches, their role is to help you profile, not only and help you understand, I guess, or set your career goals as a part of the onboarding of the program, which may change over time, but to highlight your transferable skills, because everyone has them. And sometimes people are coming from areas where you wouldn't think that there's a crossover, but there genuinely is, be it teaching, for example. So that is a really, really important aspect of the journey, is to engage with those coaches to help flesh that out and to pitch yourself and position yourself to be valuable. Also, obviously, with interview preparation and the like, it is not one thing to demonstrate your transferable skills and highlight your new skills. But as I said at the start, because it's designed with industry, you'll be a step above many others, because you'll be able to demonstrate that you have a deep understanding of the impact that you will have in the role on the business. And that is music to an employer's ears, compared to someone that says, I know all the technical and I know all this. It's the business impact that is key. So you'll get all of that in one. Gussie has asked, at what point is the Python test carried out? Is a requirement to pass before you start the program? Yes, it is. So you've got time still, if depending on your background and your experience level. But even if someone didn't have a great deal of experience, I would say if you were to start Kaggle now, you'd have more than enough time to learn the basics and pass the test prior to the 22nd of April. We do have a process that we can support you with. So it is imperative, if you've spoken with your enrolment advisor, or if you've been interacting with Otto or Sonia already, that you speak with them, and there'll be a time to book with them, put in the chat function, or Sam has already put my link in there as well. I'm not as good as they are at outlining it all. I know enough to be able to certainly help everyone. but they're experts in this actual particular program. But I'd be more than happy to help, or if I don't know an answer to something, I'll certainly get it for you. But the test is, so you go through a process of applying and securing, being offered a placement in the program, learning Python, and then taking the test. So we've got a really supportive process where you'll get one-on-one support for that as well. Great question, Gozia. Melanie's back, and thank you, Melanie. You've put in a lot of engagement. You'd be great in Circle. Melanie's a master's student in international management. I'm thinking of writing my master's thesis on the importance of networking in business. It seems that this course offers a lot of networking opportunities. Would you say this would help with writing such a thesis? I'm going to ask your opinion in a moment, Emily. I'm going to also say, though, it could revolutionise how you pitch what networking can be, like web scraping LinkedIn, for example, to hone in on your targeted networking approach. And there's a lot of innovation in that space, but true networking. Emily, how do you feel that that might contribute to a thesis?
Oh, I don't know if I'm experienced enough to know about theses, but I think that the course offers a huge variety of opportunities to network, and that's where the career coach can come in as well, with developing your LinkedIn profile. And then myself and my peers have developed a LinkedIn network ourselves, so we can communicate with each other. There's the networking events at Cambridge. There's getting involved with going to networking events in AI and ML, wherever you are, and also opportunities to network online. So it doesn't have to be the UK. It doesn't have to be via Cambridge. We post links on Circle to various events that are led online as well at different times. And all of them produce networking opportunities. I'm not sure if that's something that the person who's asked the question is asking about, but
Yeah, and I can see some emojis going up, so I assume it resonated. However, Melanie, I wouldn't say that's the intended outcome of this program at all, as in a thesis or contribution to a thesis. This will it'll give you the networking opportunities for sure, but it's the learning outcomes from in a data science perspective that is obviously the most important aspect of the program as well. Jake has also contributed a lot. So Jake's asked what's the cohort number per intake. It's around 100, Jake. That will change moving forward as well. We'll increase that slightly as we get more coaches, more industry mentors, and potentially more industry partners. One thing, sorry, on the networking, I just wanted to touch on before I come back to Jake's next question, is the coaches now also host what's called career sprints. So for groups of learners that choose to engage on the career sprints, you'll meet together with the career coach. So there'll be a group of 5 or 6 of you where you hold each other to account in which to do the activities that are going to benefit your job search. And it may be, I'm nervous to reach out to someone on LinkedIn. You'll all share your experiences. There's some really concrete actions that are taken from those 5 or 6 sessions that you have as career sprints together, and shared learning along the way. And I think they're a great innovation that will assist anyone that wants to learn from others, but also see what has been successful in others' job searches as well. Jake's asked specifically of yourself, Emily, the time commitment mentioned is 20 hours on average. Is this what you found the commitment was, noting your points on engagement?
I think that it's an average of 20 hours. And I think most weeks it takes myself 20 hours. I think perhaps if you're more experienced in data analytics and data science, it will take you slightly less. There are certain areas of the course that you'll be more familiar with, and it will take you less time. There are certain areas of the course, like course 3 and LLMs and NLP for me, which have taken longer because I've had to do more reading around. The mini projects and the projects, I would say, from my experience so far and from that of my fellow learners, you get out of it what you put in. Even those that are advanced in data science and data analytics, who want to really showcase their skills and develop new tools. I mean, using the LLM is really quite difficult, and learning how to tune it. And even those of us with extensive experience found that quite hard. So those mini projects and projects, I would say, take more time than the 20 hours. You are given longer to complete them than the week, but just be prepared to put in a little bit of effort to complete those. I'm not sure how that's going to evolve with time. As learner representatives, we fed that back to For Forever and Cambridge. So it may be that people are given a little bit longer with those in future cohorts.
Yeah, we've already implemented a 2-week break after course one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so based on yours and others' feedback as well to enable that
yeah,
submission time as well.
yeah.
Statistics. Harry's asked here, what kind of topics from statistics did you study in the program, Emily? Thank you. So the first course is obviously applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. I guess he's asking what the content of that particular course was.
Yep. So thinking back, you learn about the foundations of statistics, and chi-squared tests and paired t-tests and so on. So it's fairly fundamental statistics, and then you go into those which are more useful for neurometrics and building neural networks. The use of activation functions and F1 and recall and precision. And of course, those are really important for when you are looking for jobs, the difference between them. So the statistics starts off relatively basic, I think, but then progresses as you go through course one and course two. Once you get onto course three, statistics is less of a thing because with LLMs and NLP, there's not so much of an how accurate is my output. That's more gauged by experience, and the LLMs are there then looking. The LLMs are then proving the robustness of the previous techniques that you've used and the previous models that you've used, if you like. So I hope that's enough information. It's quite a while since I did course one, so um, it
Um,
finishes with quite a lot of visualization techniques and 2D visualizations like PCA and TESNI. So it goes from being relatively foundation to really quite advanced quite quickly. I think if there's anything that I'd say in terms of the statistics and when you get onto neural networks, a decent background in maths, and I think that's one of the requirements, isn't it, is to have done a
quantitative.
mathematical module at university. A decent background in maths is perhaps even more important than the computer science aspect of things and Python.
Perfect. I just realised the time, and I'm usually really good at managing time, but we're at time. Do you have to go, Emily, or can you answer
No,
2 or 3?
yeah,
Thank you, and I'll try and wrap things up relatively quickly, but I'm really keen to get to 1 or 2 more questions. Sam, I apologise. I usually manage the time to the minute. Akinyeli's asked, as a group of data scientists through the course, he means, or she means, do you all arrive at the same conclusion when looking at problems, or it varies depending on your approach? Good question, actually.
yeah,
So is there
yeah.
right and wrong? Is there right or wrong for everything, or is there debate?
It's hugely creative. And I
Yes.
think it's something that as scientists, well, some of us as scientists struggled with quite a bit at the start of the course, like what's the right answer? And the answer is there isn't a right answer. And when you get onto the mini projects and projects, there's no, this is how you have to write up your report and this is how it must be done. There's criteria that you have to meet. But no, it really depends on your approach to the data scientist, and that can be however you want it to be. There's no right or wrong. So bring your creative aspect and go for it, really. And as Dr. Hunter says, have a good play with the tools that are available to us and see what comes out at the other end.
Which is excellent as well. Um, uh, Someone's asked here, does career coaching tailor a program to you? For example, I want to become a quant for a hedge fund. They will help you tailor strategies that are specific to you, absolutely. It won't necessarily mean that they've been in that role that you're seeking before, but the tools and techniques in which you'll develop with your career coach will be guided directly towards your individual goal. So yes, in answer to that question, it's very, very customized and tailored towards your intended outcome. And Melanie's asked, I think you've already answered some of this, but they've asked here, what applications do you use or should we download before starting? And I guess you mentioned, what was the one you mentioned earlier that you wish you had more
Oh,
experience in before?
GitHub,
GitHub, was it? Yeah,
GitHub
exactly.
Copilot. Yeah.
You'll learn it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'd suggest mainly Python and potentially that. Some familiarity with GPTs or chat in particular would certainly assist, but basically, so long as you meet the entry criteria, the rest is going to be provided. But if there's any other tips, Emily, that you'd provide there, I'd be happy to hear.
Um, there are various courses which can just get you started with coding. So Udemy is really good. Coursera is really good. Having a play with those. Kaggle is great. Using Kaggle competitions to start building a portfolio, but that I think comes later, kind of at the stage I'm at, unless you're already quite advanced and along the way. But yeah, Udemy, Coursera, Kaggle, all great places to get started with coding.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And speak to your enrollment advisor. We can certainly provide the Kaggle ones as we did for
yeah,
Emily on the way.
yeah.
It's time to wrap, and I think there's a few key takeaways for the audience. Emily, you hit it on the head earlier when you said, what advice would you give them? And it was that give it
Go
a
for it.
go, like, make a
Yeah,
commitment to yourself, go for it. But I think also what I encourage people to do at this point is to engage as you did, Emily, with those around you, be it your partner, be it your family, be it your employer or colleagues or friends, because it is intensive for that 7 to 9 month period. It is a case of saying, I can't go out for drinks on a Friday night, I've got study.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
I can't start that Netflix with you, hun. Netflix series with your Dal because I can't commit to a Netflix series for the next 7 months or so. They're the sorts of things that buy you time to enable this to fit in with your life, in all honesty. So engage with others and see the pride in them when you're accepted into Cambridge. It is a special university that provides amazing opportunities, but most importantly, the learning outcomes. So take the next step, be it apply, be it book a time with myself or one of my team. We will encourage you to apply if it's right for you, but we'll certainly have an honest conversation or offer an alternative if we can, or other Cambridge courses if it's not right for you. We won't squeeze people into the program with that we don't think it is going to provide a great return on your investment. It's a big decision, and we take these decisions with a great deal of empathy as it's important. And lastly, we will offer some extended coaching as well. So there'll be an offer that the offer did finish on Monday, but for those in attendance today, mention to your enrolment advisor or myself that I've mentioned that. I think it's the least we can do when you've given up so much of your time. You have made a great step towards your decision by attending today, and I'd like to thank you for that. And the engagement's been fantastic. It's a great level of interest, but mostly, sorry, not mostly, in addition, I always thank Sam. She does an amazing job putting the events together. But Emily, that was brilliant. Thank you ever so kindly for being so open with and giving with your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it today. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for having me. It's been a real privilege and an honor, and hopefully we'll help people.
Well, that's what it's all about, is helping others, and hopefully
Yeah.
we've done that for the audience. But it's our privilege and our honour to have you today. Everyone, take your next step. I ask this of everyone: if you had your last 12 months over again, what would you do differently? And if your answer to that question is nothing, think of that question ahead in 12 months' time. If you ask yourself that question again in the future, what does if I had my last 12 months over again, would it be that you wanted to study data science but didn't? Or is it that you are so glad that you undertook a life decision such as this and that you're now reaping the rewards for? We look forward to welcoming, as I say often, supporting and genuinely celebrating your career outcomes, as that's what it's all about here at Fourth Rev in Cambridge. Thank you all and have a wonderful day and weekend. Thanks, Emily. Thanks again.
Thanks.